Kevin Owens explains why he won't turn on Sami Zayn for teaming with Roman Reigns like he did to Cody Rhodes. Kevin Owens was involved in an in-ring segment with Sami Zayn on the latest episode of WWE RAW. He explained to his longtime friend why he wouldn't turn on him like he did to Cody Rhodes. The former Universal Champion confronted Sami Zayn after the latter announced that he would enter the Royal Rumble match. The Raw star asked KO how this would go down, as the whole world saw what he did to the American Nightmare after he teamed with Roman Reigns. Kevin Owens said he knew Sami and Roman had a lot of history, just like they do. He mentioned that he's done a lot of things in the past that Zayn overlooked, and the latter forgave him, just like he forgave the OTC. Because he's a good person, Kevin Owens believes Sami Zayn could win the Royal Rumble match. He told Sami, whom he's known for 2 decades, that he would win the Rumble because he deserved it, and they could accomplish one more thing together. That KO mentioned that they have never faced each other in a singles match for the WWE Championship in the main event of WrestleMania. He said that when they both win their matches at the upcoming PLE, that can finally happen. It seemed like Owens was trying to gaslight Sami into helping him with the title at Royal Rumble. WWE RAW, Best and Worst. Adam Pearce gets newest acquisition. Kevin Owens tries to lure Bloodline member away. WWE touted Raw's move to Netflix, but all 3 offerings on the new platform have had big hits and misses. The first show trotted out as many celebrities and legends as possible, but arguably had no shock returns or debuts. The second episode had the excellent debut of Penta and Lyra Valkyria, becoming the inaugural Women's Intercontinental Championship. With the second edition of Saturday night's main event coming up, WWE tried to tie a bow on Raw's part of the card. Rhea Ripley will defend her newly won title against Nia Jax at the event. The third episode on Netflix was probably the biggest mixed bag of the 3. Here's the best and worst of Raw. This week's Raw kicked off with Jey Uso coming to the ring. He tried to cut his usual promo, but was cut off by Gunther. Gunther called him out for trying to stand alone, but not doing so. The second Roman Reigns or his family pulled him back in. He also called WWE's mascot, which Jey gladly accepted since he considered the fans his team. CM Punk cut a promo of his own from the crowd, stating his desire to win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania. He name-dropped the stars he's beaten that have declared for the match: Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins. But he also mentioned Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, and calling in his favor if needed. His best line was saying he'd throw Hulk Hogan's dusty rear out of the ring if he decided to show up. Number 3. Best/worst. Damage Control versus Pure Fusion Collective. After both women fell short in the Women's Intercontinental title tournament, Damage Citarel's Io Sky and Dakota Kai returned to tag action against the Pure Fusion Collective. The match was good with Sky, Kai, and Zoe Stark providing great spots throughout the contest. The problem is that neither team gains anything with a win. Kai and the Genius of the Sky were victorious, but have beaten them so much that it's boring. Stark is getting bogged down in the group that has much more bark than bite. Number 2. Best, Penta vs. Pete Dunne. While the episodes of Raw on Netflix have been mixed bags of good and bad, Penta's booking on the last 2 shows hit the bullseye. His match with Chad Gable was one of the best offerings WWE has had so far in 2025. The former Impact World Champ followed up his debut with another solid showing against Pete Dunne. Dunne and Gable are 2 of the best technicians in wrestling, so it's given Penta top-tier opponents to make him look good. They've done just that, but also put up a great fight against the newcomer. Dunne warped Penta's fingers, and Penta sold the damage. If this keeps up, he should be in a title picture on Raw sooner rather than later. Bayley is the biggest name to move to Raw during the random transfer window introduced over the last month. After crashing last week's show, Bayley showed up on NXT, faced Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown, and then lost to Nia Jax on Raw. Best/worst. Bayley gets a new start on Raw and immediately loses. That means Bayley has lost her last 3 singles contests to the Annihilator. She fell at SummerSlam, Bad Blood, and now on Raw. It was all to set up a match for Rhea Ripley at Saturday night's main event. Jax lost to Mommy at the Elimination Chamber last year. The match could have ended via disqualification, with Ripley attacking Jax to return the favor for an ambush before Raw. Worst. What are the rules? WWE made a huge deal of the transfer window to play up how certain stars could shift brands due to Raw's big debut on Netflix. Braun Strowman moved to SmackDown, and Bayley has come back to Raw. It was essentially an excuse for every star involved in War Games to show up on either show after the event concluded. If WWE had provided an end date for the roster movement ploy, it'd make more sense. Instead, it feels lackluster at this point, with stars randomly showing up on the brand they don't belong to. Involving NXT has also muddled up the field. Kevin Owens embarked on a quest for revenge ever since Cody Rhodes ignored his feelings to team up with Roman Reigns. He gave Randy Orton a chance, but the Viper had more loyalty to Rhodes than Owens. Owens is still upset with every Bloodline member who blindly fell behind Reigns after he returned at SummerSlam. He's expressed his anger by attacking everyone except Sami Zayn. The former Universal Champion said he gave Zayn more slack than others because they have been brothers for years. He also wasn't as mad at Zayn because he'd forgiven Owens in the past, was a good person, and was allied with Roman at one point best. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, friends forever. Rhodes battled the OG Bloodline for months and then didn't hesitate to join the head of the table against Solo Sikoa. Owens also planted the seed that Zayn should start looking out for himself. He wished his friend the best and hoped he'd win the Royal Rumble so they could face each other at WrestleMania 41. Number 1. Worst, an underwhelming match between two WWE veterans. The New Day was supposed to face Rey Mysterio and a partner a few weeks ago. The match turned into Rey versus Kofi Kingston, with Xavier Woods coming out with Kingston. The LWO didn't accompany Mysterio for the match. The group's inconsistency with what it does and doesn't do led to Rey not having backup against the New Day. Woods predictably interfered, but was ejected. Mysterio won, but his backup came way too late. What's the point of the LWO if they don't regularly back each other up? The match quality was also extremely disappointing. Both men are longtime veterans, but Rey slipped a few times, and they had to copy the planned spot just to get it in. Best/worst, a WrestleMania rematch falls short. Perhaps it was the stage of the show of shows, but Seth Rollins' battle with Drew McIntyre in the main event didn't feel as big as it should have. The two had a great title match last April, and both men were respectful after McIntyre won. The rematch on Raw had some great spots and counters. Both men also share feelings about the Bloodline, but have dealt with it in different fashions. McIntyre picked up the win after pulling Rollins' hair, but he continued the assault after the match, but Zayn prevented the Scottish Warrior from inflict.